We're just doing a bin audit. We're having a look to see what's in each of these rubbish bins. We're hoping to break it into 4 different categories, one being waste, which needs to go to landfill, the other being products which could have been recycled and put into the yellow lidded bin, and then we've got our organics, which is food scraps or garden organics. There's quite a bit of volume here of food organic waste, and all of this waste could be either composted or used in a worm farm to break it down and reuse the organics. We can see from this pile of recycling material, all this material could have been placed in the yellow lidded bin. Things like your milk bottles, your plastic containers, all your paper and cardboard should be recycled, and so this household could probably improve by a bit of education in their recycling rates. Bottle caps, for example, these can be just screwed back onto your milk bottles. I'd say this household has done a pretty good job of recycling to a degree. They've obviously, all these milk bottles have gone somewhere, so they would have went in the yellow lidded bin, but they could have just given them a quick rinse. This one probably needs a bit of a rinse. It doesn't look like there's had much of a rinse there. Give a quick rinse, put the cap back on the container and throw it in your yellow lidded recycling bin. I guess what we're looking at here is the food waste. There's a reasonable bit of food waste. I guess the main one is just the pumpkin, which sometimes they can go off, just a matter of storage and I guess purchasing and using within a timely period. And look, the recycling's a great story here. There's minimal amount of recyclables that has gone into the bin. I'm assuming that the rest of the recycling from this household has gone into the yellow lidded bin. If we go over to the waste, quite a lot of styrofoam. This is the right bin to put your styrofoam in. So look, pleasing to see. Generally a pretty good effort from this resident. There's no green waste here, and that's really good. Looks like this resident must be using their green waste at home and not putting it in the bin, so that will be saving landfill space and also reducing the amount of methane that's generated at our landfills, which is great. Okay, this is an atypical bin. Basically, we've got a small amount of waste that needs to go to landfill. We've got a reasonable amount of recyclables that could have went into the yellow lidded recycling bin. We've got about 20% of food waste, which is in keeping with our survey results previously, and we've got about 30% of in this particular instance is garden organics, which really could be reused or used elsewhere. It doesn't need to go to landfill. There's a lot of apples, oranges, which really, there might be a bit of a bruise mark in it. You can cut that out and still use it. And just a bit of care about your food, making sure it doesn't go stale and that you can reuse it, use the bread for toast, etc. A heap of recycling material here. All of this can be recycled. We've got things like water bottles. People don't even necessarily need to buy the water bottles, especially when it doesn't go into the recycling bin, is causing problems to the environment. Soft drink cans, easy, just throw them straight into your recycling bin, easy as. Look, there's quite a lot of green waste here. This could have been taken to one of our waste facilities and we could have reused it and mulched it. Other options include composting it at home. This material, if it was in a compost pile, would break down pretty readily and could be reused back on people's gardens. Now we're going to weigh each of the portions, the waste, the recycling, the food organics and the garden organics. On average, the average weight across the 3 bins of waste was 12.4 kilos. The average recyclable material was 2 kilos. The average amount of waste that had to go to landfill was 3.3 kilos. Food organics was 3.3 kilos of material on average. Garden organics was 3.7 kilos. And a total on average of 9.2 kilos per bin could have been diverted. Okay, what we've found in this little survey is that there's a lot of material that doesn't need to go to landfill. The 3 elements are recyclable material that could go in your yellow lidded recycling bin. You've got food organics, which could be composted or reused or minimise the amount of food wastage in your household. And then there's garden organics, which could be diverted and reused or reused at home. People can make their own choices, but we'd like to open a conversation with the community because waste going to landfill has a big impact on council's budget and has a negative impact on our environment, and we're all concerned about our future and our children's future.